Good evening, this is Jones. Welcome you to CRT Gaming Podcast. Tonight is episode number 8, Star Wars Squadrons in VR. With me tonight are two great friends of mine, Gohan and Dazpick. How are you doing this afternoon, Gohan?
Doing well. Just, ready to take on the Empire.
Oh, it sounds like the force is strong with this one. And Mr. Dazpick, how are you doing this afternoon?
Excellent as always, man.
Excellent. Well, so I know we primarily have been doing retro games for the most part, but every once in a while, like a big AAA game title comes along, and there's just a part of me, I think I would feel kind of wrong about it if I was here tonight talking about Dig Dug rather than something that is like life-changing for me. Just in a sense. So, this week I chose to do Star Wars Squadrons in VR. Now, in the past, there's been a lot of games that have dealt with the original trilogy. That's what I really enjoy. I like, the X-Wings, the Y-Wings, TIE Fighters, TIE Bombers, Interceptors, Death Star, Star Destroyers. The original trilogy. That's what gets me going. And the games in the past have always been giving us something for the time period, but it's not quite what we would imagine or truly hope for. This goes on for a while, but it basically ends at Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2 Rogue Leader on the GameCube, and that's 2001. So that's a pretty long time out without having anything that's really Star Wars to me. Like I've seen all the other newer movies, but they just don't hold the same place for me in my heart.
No love for Starkiller Base, bro?
No love for that thing. No.
Well, not only has it been, a long time, right? As you're saying, 2002, Star Wars as a property has had, a pretty checkered past in video games, right?
Oh, yes. Like there's some...
there's been some really good stuff, and then there's been some, not so great stuff.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like, there's been some pretty bad apples in that basket that stink. But like the older games, they were good for the time. Like I remember playing the 2600, flying my blocky snowspeeder around, and felt like I was destroying AT-AT after AT-AT. But it doesn't really hold up to the test of time.
Shoot him in the butt and under the neck, baby.
Yeah.
But the high marks, have been pretty high though in Star Wars. The good games have been really good though.
Oh yeah, definitely for the time period, they're great. Then, in like 2016, Star Wars Battlefront was out, and then kind of out of nowhere, they released said it's coming for free. It's a single VR mission for the PlayStation VR. And I probably played that no less than 30 times. I've played that a lot. Actually, the first time I played it, for whatever reason, no one watches my personal YouTube channel, let alone me. I decided to stream it. And so I still have a copy of that. Maybe we'll post it here.
Okay, this just was awesome.
Got the rendezvous coordinates.
I've enjoyed Valkyrie,
sure I entered them correctly.
but
I don't like this.
this is dope.
Lou, look! It's the fleet!
Red flight, report in.
Oh,
Red 2 standing by. Red 3 standing by.
Red 4 standing by. What took you all so long?
Guess the rookie punched the button a little early.
Cut the chatter. All
this
exits
is
accounted for,
inverted.
Admiral.
Copy.
but I did think that game was the first time that I truly felt like this is what I wanted to play. Like all these years, I wanted to be inside the X-Wing. I wanted to fly it. I wanted to shoot TIE fighters.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, wanting to fly an X-Wing, fly a TIE fighter, I mean, back in the early 90s, back in the 486 era, LucasArts released X-Wing and TIE Fighter for the PC, and that is a long time ago. I mean, that is nearly 30 years ago, when it comes to, this property and what makes it popular. Flying spaceships is a big part of it. So it's been a long time that we've been waiting for a game that
Gorgeous.
finally kind of delivers on the promise, of the property.
Oh, most definitely. And then like a real hard thing that everybody that basically tries to do a review on anything that's in VR is posting a good representation of it, because it's impossible to do. And just the difference of, piloting a game as you would be in an X-Wing, the transition from that perspective to actually being inside the cockpit, with depth, with perception, with everything that comes with actually being in that physical space, is just, it adds so much to it. It's just, you're completely immersed in Star Wars, and I love it.
Yeah, I used the Battlefront mission as a litmus test for how people were going to like VR when they came over. Like, that was the thing I always started them with. And every time...
Oh, really? That was the first thing that you suited people up with? That's a great demo. That's a really good demo.
It is. You sit down, you have the comfort of using a controller, but you're still inside the cockpit, and you're totally sucked into it. The cockpit closes and the silence of space and everything, until everything starts blowing up around you and everything. Man, it's fantastic. I mean, that was definitely my starter litmus test, and then it was Resident Evil stuff.
But well, amazingly enough, we're here in 2020, like nearly 4 years since this demo,
That was amazing.
or whatever you want to refer to it as, just VR mission came out. And over that course of time, Battlefront 2 had come and sadly gone. I was really hoping just something, maybe they'll have some more VR in it. Maybe they'll
like, are you going to fly a snow speeder? Like, what's the next chapter in that universe, as a pilot?
I was waiting for the microtransactions.
I would have paid. That's what they don't understand. I would have paid. Your stupid Battlefront mission for the original Battlefront, I would have gave you $20 for it. Like,
yeah,
you could have charged me $40. You could have charged me $39.99.
Yeah.
And at that moment in time, I really didn't care.
I'm with you.
So yeah, I was real disappointed that nothing came out for Battlefront. And then kind of out of the blue earlier this year, Star Wars Squadrons was announced. And then they said they would have VR. And I have been just amped for this day for it to come out. I pre-purchased it, sitting here ready, waiting to play.
Oh man, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And Nebula. Looks awesome. All the shadows are great in the cockpit. This looks incredible. Oh my goodness. Alright. Yeah, this looks great.
And upon playing it, since I did record the first time I played the Battlefront mission, I decided to record, my initial thoughts the first time I turned this on. And after watching the other one, just kind of seeing what I thought then, I kind of had the same reaction. Just it's a lot more highly intensified just to the visuals and the scope of the battles taking place here. It's it's pretty amazing. It's nothing short of amazing.
I mean, that demo when it came out, it was so short, and it really left you wanting more. And time went by, and the retail game finally kind of came out. And I mean, in my honest opinion, in my childhood dreams, I never thought an X-Wing game could ever be this good. People are not doing themselves a service by skipping the VR, though. I mean, VR is such a big part of what makes this so memorable.
Oh, sorry to interrupt you. But that's exactly one of the questions I wanted to ask you guys kind of right out the gate before we get into the game. Because this isn't really like a review of it. This is just something that came out. It's optional to play it in VR. And just really kind of throwing our thoughts out there on you to something that I truly love. So let's pretend for a second neither of you guys had a VR headset. Okay. Now you either never thought of buying one, or you are just kind of on the fence about it. You've thought about it, but you're not really sure. But you were a Star Wars fan. And let's pretend you came over to my house and tried this out in VR. Would you go purchase a VR headset afterwards?
Without a doubt.
It makes a very strong case. I mean, it's hard to not just walk away from this, just feeling transformed.
Yeah, I know me, and as soon as there is, I normally don't buy systems when they come out. I wait till there's some just amazing game that I have to play. For PlayStation 4, it would have been God of War. I would have waited for that to come out. Now, my brother ended up giving me one, and that was great. But I wouldn't have had a PlayStation 4 until God of War came out, because God of War was the game changer. That shit was unreal. But when I played that Battlefront mission in VR for the first time, or if I'd played this, I would have turned around and bought PSVR right then, or a VR for this. Because it was amazing. It was freaking unreal. And yes, the being there, the being in it, in the X-Wing, flying around, the TIE fighters zipping by, all of that, and the total immersion of that. It doesn't match, man. There's nothing that touches that. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and disclosure for the folks at home, when we all got to play this game recently, it was on the PC, so visual splendor to the max.
Oh yeah, dead sexy.
Yeah, I believe Dazpick and myself, Jones, were playing it on the Quest via the link cable, and Gohan was on the Oculus Rift S, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, Rift S.
Now, I personally don't have it, but I did manage to go over to a friend that had it on the PlayStation VR. And despite the obviously lower resolution, and there's a little loss of fidelity in the graphics, it was very faithful to what I played. Like, had I not be playing this on PC and I had a PlayStation with just a VR, I would still be happy as a clam, or as a pig, or whatever gets happy.
As Jawa.
As a Jawa, I'd be that little guy, or I'd be
Ewoks
like a little
are
Ewok.
happy. Jawas aren't happy, man. Ewoks.
I'd be singing the Yub Gup song. And
the original one, not whatever they changed it into.
No, yeah, the Yub Nub. We chopped your Yub Nub.
That's the thing that's kind of cool about this game, right? Is it could be played in 2D, on a monitor, and it can be played in VR, and it is a great game, I think, to play on its own. But you're seeing kind of the game in black and white, compared to color, if you're playing in VR, and I really can't, stress that enough. It really is a big part of what makes this game awesome. But underneath the VR, and how awesome that experience is a good game.
Yeah, it's like the options of it are very simplistic in nature, but I mean, it's not a full retail price game, so I don't feel like, even if it was $60, I really wouldn't care. I'm fine with it. But you have a like a story mode, which I'm about 5 or 6 levels into, where it basically telling a single arcing story, but it's interweaving in between different sides of the story with the Empire and the Rebellion, or the Alliance maybe. And it kind of takes place right after the Battle of Endor, which I thought was, kind of cool. And aside from that, there is missions where you can do multiplayer fighting. You can do just dog fighting, which is pretty fun. I'm terrible at it, but I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I suck at it.
And there's the fleet battles, which are long tug-of-war matches, but are visually very, very cool to look at. And I imagine the better you get with the game, the more fun you'll have with that mode. Did either of you guys enjoy... Well, you could choose to be on the Rebel Alliance or part of the Empire. And what I thought was kind of cool is, depending on what type of character you chose, then like your background score music changed. So, you would get like the kind of like happy Force Rebel music, or you'd get, dark tone Imperial March-ish music for you.
That was like such a cool part of the original X-Wing and TIE Fighter games was, you really did get like a full presentation that was geared towards being in the Rebel Alliance or being, in the Empire, down to the music, to the UI. Like every single detail was, kind of attended to, and I really did appreciate in this game that they did the same.
Did any of you enjoy the fact that kind of how the original, that Battlefront VR mission was just a little single episode? I kind of like how the story mode is broken up into chunks where they're just little 10 to 20 minute missions you can kind of jump in and out of and play. You could replay one after you've beaten it. So I thought that was pretty cool. Did you guys notice that at all, that you're able to do that?
I prefer that kind of stuff. That and because again, I'm not good at the PvP stuff. I never have been, and I'm okay with it. It's not my lot in life, and I have no problem with it. But that was one of the things I really enjoyed about the Battlefront one, that it was an enclosed story that was cool, and that there's a story mode in this. I really enjoy that, because I mean, Star Wars, I want a narrative to some degree, a good narrative, not a current one, but yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, the campaign is straight and to the point. The missions have a nice blend of different activities and pacing, for a sim, or it's kind of hard to call this a sim, but and yeah, like you were saying, Jones, like the real-time cinematics, they look amazing. The Frostbite engine is just a rendering and effects marvel in VR. It's really impressive how they got that engine to just work so well, and look great on people that can play on high-end machines.
Yeah, it's definitely a spectacle with all the effects, particle effects, the explosions, the smoke, just giant starships cracking in half and exploding, and you flying through it at the moment in time. It is very, very visually overwhelming during the giant battles, and I just feeling just covered like a warm blanket with Star Wars, and it feels so good.
I love it when you blow up a ship and then the debris of the ship just rattles over your cockpit and everything. Just the sound of the pieces just littering your ship. It's just awesome.
Yeah, it's very arcadey, in its gameplay, but there's a lot of depth there. The simple system that they have for your ship's power system, and being able to quickly divert, to your shields or to your engines or to your lasers, stuff like that, and using the chaff and the repair droids, like really kind of mix up the experience, quite a bit.
Oh yeah, it gets very deep. Like I've kind of played it normally all week. That's really not trying to customize anything, but today I had the first day off in 30 days, which is kind of amazing. and I spent playing this game. And you can like really customize like your ship's loadout. Like there's like you have like normal lasers, but this is like what was going on in multiplayer because people have their ships customized. So
Yeah, we got smoked.
yeah, you could have normal lasers, which are kind of like all around good average. This is kind of what you want. But then you could choose a different type of laser that's like a homing laser that's going to hit you, but it does less damage. So you know you're trading for a known disadvantage for a known advantage, and if you play to your strong points, that you should crush people. So there's a lot of customization you can do that way, and so it ended up getting a lot deeper than I thought it did, along with the energy management system that you have to change on the fly, as well as diverting your shield power to the front or to the back.
Yeah, that is a big, you really do you're moving your kind of area, of the vulnerability of your ship becomes a big part of moment-to-moment decision making.
Yeah, which I could see, if you really get into it, you could really, I don't know, play a symphony while you're flying, as far as like what you happen to do at once, like immediately go from like high speed to bank, to switch to hype weapons to shoot something, then immediately switch back to high speed to get out of there. Put your shields on the rear so they can't shoot you in the ass. But it's pretty fun. I really enjoyed the multiplayer. I'm not good at it by any means at all, but I do have a little bit of the beast in me from Kung Fu Hustle. Well, I either want to, kill you or be killed by you. So I will get good at this if it kills me.
And in multiplayer, those games live and die by their controls, and I'm a huge fan of console space shooters. I love Colony Wars. I love Wing Commander on and off, PC, so the controls are pretty easy to learn in Star Wars. There's a ton of customization options for the player, and their setups. Like you're saying, like you really do have a lot of meaningful decisions, in the ship's loadout that kind of allow you to play to your strengths a little bit more.
What you looking for?
Did Dazpick, did you get to experiment with any of the other type of ships other than the like a TIE Interceptor or a bomber? Or are you just stuck with the TIE Fighter?
Well, today I played around with just the. I changed around the loadout on my ship after I did that fleet battle training, and I finished that, and then I played around with the loadout and changed my engine to more my style, where I always have boost available as long as I have something in engines, because I use the boost a lot and started kind of. Because some of this stuff I play a lot. I played a lot of Elite Dangerous, so I have the flight stick for that, and so that's a simulator more than anything, so it's a little more complicated, but this has some of the stuff that you've learned from that to bring over to this, like the drift function. So when you hit your boost, you can drift and whip around, and then go the other direction, which is pretty sweet. But I gotta get used to incorporating that into this. But changing the engines, change the lasers. Those are the big things that I wanted to do, because I didn't like the regular blasters. I liked all four firing at once and doing more damage, so that I don't have to sit there and pound away on somebody. I can just take them out in a couple shots. But I set it on the training mode, just screwing around, just to test that out. And I was in a field full of debris and everything, and I was zipping around, dodging and weaving, and it was badass. It definitely felt amazing. I can't wait to play it again later, now that I've got it set the way I wanted. So
yeah, and there are a ton of like input and customization for like different keyboard layouts and devices. Like Dazpick, you are playing it on the Thrustmaster.
Yes.
That has to just heighten like the immersiveness of this, like even further.
Well, now that I've got like, I didn't have like changing the shields to front and back, and I set that on the rocker on the throttle, which makes it really easy. So it's right at my fingertips. I can just flip it back and forth. I've got the boost right on my thumb there. I mean, there's like 12 buttons on this thing, so everything is right there at my fingertips. It's really awesome. It's just a matter of remembering what everything is, and now I've kind of got it where I want everything. So it's all pretty handy. But definitely get used to it. But I mean, being able to fly into such a debris-filled area and whip around and quickly, and then turn on a dime and shoot through a hole in a piece of metal that's floating in space is incredible. I was like, I'm gonna try this. I'm probably gonna blow up, but I ended up doing it, and I was like, okay, that's freaking bad as shit. So I was pretty jazzed about it. So yeah, again, I'm looking forward to playing some more.
Yeah, I do enjoy the fact that there is a ton of physical debris, like in most of these levels. It's not just empty space. It is, it's hazardous is what it is. Someone needs to clean space up, because, my God, it kills me a lot.
No, they do a really good job, like I kind of said earlier, the old games that this is, based on predominantly, just whether it's space sim or arcade space sim games, they do a really good job, especially with their environment art, their skybox art, where they're always orienting the player. The skybox itself is almost like a compass. You know exactly what direction up and down is. And when you have that kind of information, you're able to have way more fun arcadey dogfighting, and you're able to track, your targets way easier. And I think that's one of the things that's really impressive about this game is when people think about Star Wars, they think about spaceships and light speed and moving fast. And usually in games, flight games where you're moving fast, it's kind of not that rewarding, really. You end up shooting at little tiny UI elements, whereas in this game, you definitely feel like you're dogfighting. You are seeing the other ship that you're shooting. You're not just shooting some UI icon off in the distance. You are looking at them. You can see their R2 unit when you're shooting at them, and I think it's cool that they were able to make it so it felt fast, but at the same time gave you that intimacy, of kind of more World War II kind of dogfighting.
There was one moment in the story mode, kind of like in between each story mode before the next level starts, you end up having to go out to a hangar bay and then get in your X-Wing or your TIE Fighter, depending on what story you're in. But I remember getting into my X-Wing, and one of the characters is talking to me, and they're kind of doing like a little systems check on it, so you're kind of just sitting there, but the cockpit hatch, the glass enclosure, starts lowering down on the X-Wing, which I thought was pretty cool. So I'm looking up and watching it, and then over the loudspeaker they say something to the extent they were bringing your R2 unit to you. So I can turn completely around and looked up through the little almost like a sunroof, in the X-Wing you could see up through, and up from the top of the hangar is this matrix like pillar coming down with an R2 unit on it, and it sticks it in the back of my X-Wing. And I thought that was just a super cool. It was cool. I didn't expect seeing this when I turned around. And it's got a lot of just little touches that it just resonates Star Wars to me. But there are a couple things with this game that aren't bad, but they're just things that other Star Wars games do, and it bothers me. Like there's two characters. There's two characters in this game. If you played any of the story, there's one called Gunny. It's like this red, like lizardish, not quite lizard, maybe more like Abe from Hellboy, creature, and it just talks to you like it's from Louisiana.
Finally,
Like it's got a dialect, like it's weird. Like Star Wars creatures to me should either talk in their own language and you subtitle it, or they talk some like a different version of English that doesn't sound like, it's not the Queen's English, it's not from the Bronx. like Yoda, like
Yeah,
Yoda.
like the guy in the
English.
diner in episode 2, like the crazy diner guy. This is like, yeah, I know what you mean. Like it's like Dexter Jettster, Bronx diner owner. Is that like
Yeah.
really? Is that Star Wars?
Yeah, they had another character, Frisch, was like a Bosk-like character, but he kind of talked like a merman from Austin. Like just I don't need to hear him talk, man. If this is what you're coming up with, just you could just mime it. I don't care, but I don't want to hear this. But outside of that, really, that's my only real gripe. Do you have any big gripes about the game? Like as far as anything that you played or experienced? Well, the multiplayer's a pain in the ass. I'll state that.
Yeah, that's the only gripe I've got is that I suck.
Oh, you mean setting? Like, yeah, I mean,
Getting your friends in a game is
that's
that was something that definitely could have been improved. We were trying to all play together, and it felt like it was taking an act of Congress for all of us to end up in the same room with the same Steam IDs, with the same EA logins, and of course we're all using different VR hardware, so it definitely was a PC game experience getting it set up and running. But once it was running, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was just a nightmare getting there, but it happened finally.
I feel like I have a computer science degree now, so.
I'll just finish this out with just like a couple things that let's see. I want to start by saying I'm very grateful for what I have. But there are things like if you want to make it perfect, like in the future, here's your chance to make Jones die a happy man. If I can play this before I die.
Which might be next week.
It could be tomorrow. I don't know.
So get to work, EA.
Get to work. Like quit making no more Battlefield. Or do you make Battlefield? I don't know. They make one of the more games. They could stop for a second. I know that. But I VR game, same thing, same engine. I don't care. I want the original Death Star run from Star Wars. I want to be in the X-wing. I want to fly up to it.
Yeah.
I need to go down the trench, and I need to blow that thing up. Like one single mission. I need this.
I mean, you could do it on the 32X on Genesis, man.
No, I need it like with this fidelity.
Now we're talking.
We're not going backwards here.
No.
We've come too far.
Didn't Sega have a VR headset? Oh, it was just prototype.
There's another game that the three of us got to play a while back, which was the Star Trek Bridge Commander games.
Yeah.
Because of the genre, because of the fans of the Star series, there's a ton of opportunity to like just do things that are awesome in VR, right? It's awesome to fly the X-Wings. It's awesome to fly, the Millennium Falcon. It would just be awesome to move around some of the environments that people, know and love. Like, just even moving around the Falcon in VR would be, amazing.
It's on my list.
Flying, or I should say, looking around, the platform with Slave One on it in Empire Strikes Back. Like, I think that there's a lot of places that they can take fans back to, and man, just based on what they have here with their, flying, gameplay, their dogfighting gameplay, there's a lot still left to explore.
Oh, definitely. There is like just a couple more wishes here, and then like a grand wish.
Oh.
Like if I had a genie, I could just rub a lamp.
Is this like Santa's list? George Lucas or?
Yeah, whoever's listening. Trip Hawkins, are you still there? Did 3D make you kill yourself? Help me out here. I need snow speeder. I need a snow speeder, and I need to lasso that in VR. Like one level. I don't need a story. I just need to make that happen. Another one is I need the Battle of Endor. Endor, sorry. I need
That's
that.
a different place.
Endor, yeah, that's where is it Rangar? Is he like the all beat up bounty hunter? What's his name?
No, that's Dengar.
Is it Dengar? Okay.
Dengar, yeah, Dengar.
Dengar, that's it. Yep.
Yeah.
Clearly, we're Star Wars experts.
I had my kids read a
to be
book on
dangerous.
bounty hunters, man.
Nice. But just that battle, like just because it's like the most epic battle, like that took place in the original trilogy. I want multiple Star Destroyers. I want Death Star in the background. I want the Millennium Falcon flying around, even if it's an AI Falcon flying around. I want to see it. I want to see it flying around shooting stuff. I just want to take place in that battle.
It's clearly going to be a long list. So what's on your wish?
That was the end of my list. Outside of being in the Falcon, like you could play 4-player multiplayer. One person's Han, one's Chewie, 2 are gunners, and you fly around and shoot stuff. I think that would be kind of, then like you said, you would then you hang out in the Falcon, nothing's going on. Kind of Star Wars like.
Play chess,
Star
man.
Trek like. Play chess.
Play 3D chess. Or what is it? The little checker things that they have. What is it with the animated creatures? Whatever it's called.
Yeah.
They're playing 4D chess. Or is that Star Trek? I don't know what they're playing.
That's Star Trek.
They're playing Super Clay Fighter. That's what they're playing there.
Yeah. With a Rancor.
Oh, goodness. But like I said, outside of my super wish for a Star Wars game is if you could mix the elements from, they recently had the Vader Immortal, where you get a lightsaber, you got force powers, you're running around. But if I can be that and then get into this ship and then fly away, then Jones dies happy. That'd be my name. You could name me, put Bobby McPherson on my tombstone, because I am happy.
Yeah, I mean, if they were to kind of combine the storytelling of Vader Immortal and the energy, like the polish of the dogfighting, and space traversal of this game, that'd be a really good combination, because that's really what the action of the original movies are about, right? Like you're shooting, lightsabering, and then flying off and doing all those kind of heroics. That would definitely be a great combination for a Star Wars game.
Definitely. Well, so just don't drag on too long. Let's go ahead and try to wrap this up. Just a quick, thought from everybody. I think it sounds like everybody agrees, though. But I say Star Wars Squadron is a really fun game. If you enjoy Star Wars, it's great. If you can play it in VR, please do, because it's amazing. How about you, Dazpick? What's your?
I'd say it's a must-have VR title. For anybody that's got VR, they better have this game. If you don't, it's criminal. Simply put, I mean, it's like required reading, man. You gotta have this one. If you're into VR in any way, shape, or form. But as a game on its own, I mean, I've played it both ways. I mean, it's damn good. It's a lot of fun. I'm just not any good at the multiplayer, but that'll come in time. But it sure is a hell of a lot of fun. Flying around in an X-wing or a TIE fighter, and just being in Star Wars to that degree, man, it's just freaking awesome.
Awesome. How about you, Dr. Gohan? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, the game itself is a solid 8. With VR tilt, I would say it takes it to a 9. I mean, this is like a tech demo, for VR fidelity currently, and wow, like you can't walk away without having some breathtaking moments. And if you have a PC that could run it on ultra settings, you're really in for a treat, especially for fans of the series. And you had kind of mentioned it earlier, Jones, with the price, it's really kind of hard to argue with. So yeah, it's definitely a strong recommendation.
Great. That's 3 thumbs up and a happy face, like emoji smile that winks. Ding! the gleam. But well, next week we got another trilogy. Not a trilogy, a special. We have a special plan for you. This is being picked by Dr. Gohan. So I ended up getting us into the VR Spaceland. Where are you going to take us, sir?
Well, when we were talking about what to do for this month, we had like a couple different ideas, and one of the ideas that Daz and I kind of got excited about was the idea of doing something that was kind of Halloween themed, because horror is like such an awesome part of the video game experience. So in the same way that we kind of broke down our love and admiration and our experiences with the Castlevania games, we want to do that with Resident Evil.
Chris Redfield. Nightmare. Jill Valentine. Barry Burton. Rebecca Chambers. Albert Wesker. Resident Evil.
And so I think we're going to look at that series. It's been around for a very, very long time. It's been 30 years of survival horror, and we're going to kind of talk about what, I mean, seriously, if that doesn't antique you a little bit, like...
Oh, it hurt.
God.
It hurts so bad.
I know somewhere like where Daz and Jones are at, they're like their disc slipped or something.
Oh, God, that was hard to hear.
When I saw the Empire Strikes Back for the 2600, when I saw it came out in '82 and did that math, I was like, oh my God, that game's almost 40 years old.
Second grade, man. Jeez,
so old.
Yeah, well, so I mean, we're going to dive into that series of games, and I think that there's so many, much like Castlevania, in the horror genre, there's a lot of things to kind of mine, and going back to the PlayStation era up to Dreamcast, I think we've kind of set that our cutoff will be GameCube, so I think Resident Evil 4 will be, the newest game that we will, kind of talk about, but a lot to break down and discuss.
Excellent.
Forward to blasting some zombies.
You're master of unlocking.
Oof. Yeah, there's some really choice dialogue.
Yeah, it's got its moments.
A simpler time.
Oh my God! No, it was bad even for the time.
Yeah, you're probably right, Daz.
Well, great. Well, if you stuck around this long, we appreciate it. But next week we're going to be checking out the Resident Evil series with Gohan's Halloween Special #2.
Spectacular.
Resident Evil. So until then, everybody, have a great time. Have a great night. This is Jones with Dazpick and Gohan, signing out.
May the Force be with you, always.
Peace.
Game over, yeah!